It's finally here. The date is October 10th, 2025. Most people woke up today thinking it was just another Friday. They checked their phones, went to work, talked to friends, made plans for the weekend without knowing the sky above them had already changed. What looks normal is not normal anymore. Tonight the moon isn't just bright. It's different. It's carrying a shift that will touch everyone in some way. Memories you thought were gone might come back. Things you've been trying to ignore will feel louder. This moon is showing what's real and what needs to change. Most won't notice. They'll look at the moon and see beauty. But you can feel the difference because you feel the pull. You can sense something shifting. Even if you can't name it, that's your sign. So stay with me. Like this video, subscribe, and comment 99.9 if you're ready for what's coming today. This moon shift unlocks a powerful turning point. It moves through a zone in the cosmos known for big breakthroughs and endings that lead to new beginnings. It's like the universe hitting reset, clearing space for what truly belongs in your life. Some doors will close and others will open so suddenly that you'll know this change was always meant to happen. This energy carries truth to the surface. Things that were hidden or uncertain will start showing their real shape. People's true intentions, your own desires, your next step. It all becomes clearer. The moon moves through a place connected to transformation and destiny. The kind of moment that shapes the rest of the year. This isn't chaos, it's alignment. Everything shifting now is leading you towards something real, something stronger, something that finally matches the life you've been preparing for. Right now, something bigger is moving through this moment. Around October 10th, the universe marks a shift that can't be ignored. It's like the story of this year takes a sharp turn, and every person who's been waiting for direction finally sees where the road begins to change. This isn't random. It's connected to a larger plan your soul agreed to long ago. You were meant to hear these words exactly now. Certain bonds, lessons, and connections that once shaped your life have reached completion. They taught what they came to teach. Now the next level starts. One built on truth, purpose, and balance. The weight of old promises, the loops that kept repeating, the ties that drained energy. They're being released so something real can take their place. This is what people call a karmic clearing. But it's more than that. It's alignment. Across the world, many are waking up to the same realization that the universe is rearranging paths not to test but to prepare. Every closing door is pointing towards something that matches your higher direction. Every unexpected change is proof that your life is syncing with a greater pattern. The soul doesn't move by accident. It knows when to rise. And now that rise begins. This moon shift opens a gate between who you were and who you're meant to be. It's an initiation into power, honesty, and purpose. Nothing ahead is meant to scare you. It's meant to remind you that you're ready. Those hearing this aren't here by chance. You came to this lifetime to lead through awareness, not follow fear. So take this moment as confirmation. The alignment is real, the calling is real, and the timeline has already begun to change in your favor. Tonight, the energy feels louder than usual, as if something invisible is calling for release. Around 10th October, emotions are surfacing from places you didn't even know were waiting to be cleared. It's not chaos. It's alignment in motion. The universe is helping many to unlearn what's been heavy for too long. People are noticing mood shifts, moments of deep reflection, sudden waves of honesty that break through silence. Nothing is wrong. This is what change feels like when the soul is ready to step into something bigger. Tears may rise without reason. Memories might replay themselves for closure. Even the smallest things can trigger strong reactions. That's how transformation shows itself, through raw truth, not control. The energy of this moon is clearing emotional clutter so that peace can finally take root. The parts of you that once hid behind routine are being invited to speak, to be seen, and to finally rest. Some may crave solitude. Others may feel drawn to reconnect with people they lost touch with. Both are signs of realignment. The body is adjusting. The heart is reorganizing. And the spirit is updating its frequency to match where it's headed. You're not losing yourself. You're remembering what's been waiting beneath all the noise. Many are finding it harder to stay numb. Distractions that once worked no longer do. The truth is asking to be faced. And while it may feel uncomfortable, it's also deeply healing. Each emotional wave that rises now is like a key unlocking another layer of understanding. Every release creates space for clarity. Every honest moment brings you closer to peace. The cosmos is guiding this shift with precision. It's not random, it's preparation. The exhaustion, the sudden motivation, the urge to simplify, the quiet awareness of change. These are all markers of spiritual maturity. You're not breaking down. You're being tuned to a higher level of awareness where your choices, your heart, and your destiny begin to align. Those experiencing this right now are part of a larger awakening. The same force that pulls the tides is working within human emotion, asking for surrender to authenticity. Allow what's surfacing to move through because resistance only delays the balance that's coming. The emotional purging of this phase is not a punishment. It's a purification. The universe is removing what no longer belongs so that peace can stay. When this wave passes, there will be a lightness in your energy, a sharper awareness, and a stronger trust in your path. This chapter is reminding you that transformation isn't always calm. It's real, alive, and necessary. The moments that once felt confusing will soon reveal their purpose. The intensity you're experiencing is proof that you're not behind. You're becoming. And once this moon completes its work, what remains will be stronger, clearer, and ready for the new direction that's already forming ahead. This moon shift is uncovering what has been kept in silence for too long. Around October 10th, 2025, a deeper layer of truth begins to rise. Truth about who you are, what you've avoided, and where you've been holding back your power. This isn't punishment, it's purification. The moon acts like a mirror now, reflecting the parts of life that still need honesty. The masks, the roles, the habits that no longer fit. They can't hide under this light. Fear may try to speak first. It might tell stories of failure, rejection, or doubt. But these are echoes of the past, not predictions of the future. Every fear that surfaces now is asking to be understood, not fought. This is karmic release in real time. The undoing of emotional contracts that were made from confusion instead of clarity. The universe is asking for truth, not perfection. Many are realizing that healing isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's about admitting what has been unspoken. Anger, regret, jealousy, guilt. These aren't flaws. They're teachers. They show where love has been missing, where boundaries were ignored, where your voice was quieted. Facing them doesn't weaken you. It strengthens your foundation. Once acknowledged, these shadows begin to lose their control. Around this moon, the collective is going through a shared cleansing. People are confronting situations they've avoided for years, relationships that drain them, paths that no longer match their growth, roles that limit their expansion. The discomfort is temporary, but the freedom that follows will last. You may find yourself saying no more often, ending cycles with quiet confidence, or simply walking away from what doesn't feel true anymore. That's how release works. It doesn't always shout, sometimes it simply ends. The cosmos is guiding this inner clearing with precision. The light from this moon isn't only external, it's internal. It illuminates what's been waiting for resolution. Those who lean into this process will experience a rebirth in self-worth, a renewed sense of emotional balance, and a stronger connection to purpose. Shadow work sounds heavy, but in truth, it's a return to power. It's the art of reclaiming what fear tried to hide. Every confession, every moment of raw honesty is alchemy. It transforms pain into wisdom, confusion into strength. By the time this phase settles, the emotional weight that once felt impossible will start to dissolve. The past will no longer define you. It will educate you. That's the real gift of this moon shift. A clean emotional slate, a deeper understanding of self, and the courage to move forward without carrying the old version of you. This is not a breakdown. It's the shedding of layers that were never truly yours. And as the moon wanes in the days after October 10th, it carries away what no longer belongs, leaving behind a clearer, calmer, more powerful version of who you've always been becoming. A turning point is unfolding, subtle but unmistakable. The days surrounding October 10th, 2025 carry a rare pulse that wakes something powerful within. It's as though the cosmos has called time on hesitation, asking every soul to step into its next version without apology. What once felt distant or impossible suddenly begins to unfold with clarity. The confusion that clouded your path is lifting, revealing what's been waiting for you all along. This awakening isn't about escaping the world. It's about returning to it differently. The heart grows sharper, instincts louder, choices clearer. The noise of distraction fades and what truly matters begins to take center stage. The changes you've been sensing are not random. They're a realignment between who you are and what you're meant to live. For many, this period marks the end of emotional fog and the beginning of purpose that actually fits. Around this moon, the energy carries a quiet but undeniable acceleration. It's like life itself is asking, "Are you ready to be real?" Some are discovering courage they didn't know they had, making bold decisions, speaking truth without apology, trusting their intuition over approval. Others are drawn towards silence, rest, or creative expression as a way to integrate what's awakening inside. Both are right. Both are necessary. The spirit expands through contrast. Growth isn't always graceful, but it's always guided. You might find that things which once held importance now feel irrelevant, while new passions begin to spark. These changes are not loss. They're calibration. Every emotion, every insight, every sudden realization is part of a greater synchronization between your human experience and your spiritual blueprint. Many are beginning to experience what can only be described as deep remembering, a sense that life was never meant to be small or repetitive, but alive, curious, and purposeful. That remembering is the signal of awakening. The energy of this time pushes you to outgrow old limits and to move in rhythm with the truth that's been calling for years. This isn't a gentle phase. It's an activation of leadership, intuition, and self-trust. Those who embrace it will begin to see signs of confirmation everywhere. Meaningful encounters, unexpected guidance, or quiet moments that feel charged with clarity. The more you lean into authenticity, the faster things begin to unfold in alignment with your higher direction. Awakening doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. The power of this moon is reminding each soul that real transformation doesn't come through effort alone, but through surrender to timing. What's unfolding now is not chaos, it's orchestration. Every shift, every closure, every opportunity appearing is working together to prepare you for the next stage of evolution. By the time this energy settles, you'll realize it was never about learning something new. It was about remembering who you already are. The awakening that began around October 10th is not ending. It's expanding. A new level of awareness, purpose, and courage is stepping forward through you, ready to shape the chapters that follow. Today, something greater is in motion, an invisible movement reshaping how human consciousness functions. The timeline is shifting, and it's no longer subtle. Each thought, each choice, each emotional release is part of a vast recalibration happening through everyone at once. The moon has triggered a kind of collective awakening that extends far beyond personal stories. Around October 10th, that shift reaches a visible threshold, a moment where collective energy begins to unify rather than divide. It's not a random coincidence. It's a convergence. People everywhere are beginning to sense time differently. What used to feel linear now bends and folds. Days blur. Insights arrive faster. Synchronicities line up with startling precision. This is the expansion of collective awareness, a merging of the personal with the planetary. The energy guiding it is not chaotic. It's intelligent, organizing consciousness into a higher rhythm that humanity has been preparing for quietly generation after generation. This transformation isn't something to wait for. It's already here, shaping lives in real time. The old emotional systems built on separation and fear are breaking apart, not out of punishment, but out of evolution. Every person who chooses honesty over avoidance contributes to that shift. Each act of compassion, forgiveness, or self-acceptance ripples outward into the collective field like a tuning fork, helping others remember their own light. Consciousness is contagious in the best possible way. When one person heals, clarity multiplies. When one heart opens, others find the courage to do the same. The human mind, long trained to survive, is learning what it means to thrive, to cooperate with purpose instead of control. This is the quiet revolution taking place behind every headline, every conversation, every intuitive nudge that tells you change is overdue. Energy grids are reactivating through human intention. These are not physical structures, but fields of awareness that once guided ancient civilizations and are now reawakening through thought, empathy, and creative action. Humanity is remembering how to use consciousness as a collective language again, a way to shape the future without force. As this remembering strengthens, communication will begin to shift too. Words may carry more weight. Emotions will transmit faster and intuition will replace doubt as the dominant translator between souls. Many will interpret this period as chaos. But what's happening is reorganization. The human spirit is updating its frequency to match the reality it's calling in. Old programs built on fear are losing their influence. Relationships, careers, and social systems that no longer hold truth are being recoded through awareness. It's not collapse. It's translation into a higher design. The concept of planetary ascension has often been dramatized or misunderstood. But in its essence, it's about harmony. It's about each soul stepping into coherence with its purpose so that the collective field stabilizes into a more conscious state. This isn't magic. It's resonance. What one person embodies, others begin to access. What a group envisions with clarity can eventually become policy, innovation, or new forms of community. The shift begins inward but doesn't stay there. It expands outward, rewriting the language of progress itself. October 10th marks an energetic checkpoint in that expansion. The frequency of awakening that has been building through 2025 reaches a point of synchronization, like the final note of a long symphony aligning every instrument at once. Those who've been experiencing emotional waves, restlessness, or a sudden urge to simplify life are not regressing. They're syncing with this new rhythm. Consciousness itself is reorganizing priorities. Each individual awakening contributes to a shared field of intelligence that amplifies possibility. The more you choose awareness over distraction, the more accessible wisdom becomes for others. That's how collective transformation works. It's never isolated. Every personal act of alignment is a code that upgrades the whole. The idea of separation was never real. It was only perception. This phase is dissolving that illusion one heart at a time. The spiritual revolution of this decade is not loud. It's deliberate. It's the rise of authenticity over performance, purpose over convenience, unity over comparison. The energy is teaching humanity how to create from coherence rather than conflict. That's why relationships are transforming, why communication feels more transparent, and why truth now echoes louder than deception. As consciousness rises, resistance can surface too. Some may feel uncertain or overwhelmed by the pace of change, but this too serves the greater unfolding. Resistance reveals where trust is needed, where healing must occur before expansion can continue. The collective shadow, the unspoken fears, divisions, and inherited beliefs is being exposed not to shame, but to integrate. What is seen can be transformed. What is denied only repeats. Through this process, humanity is learning emotional intelligence at a planetary scale. Compassion is becoming a survival skill. Empathy, a form of leadership. The old hierarchies built on control are losing ground to collaboration and shared awareness. Those tuned into intuition are not escaping reality. They're helping build a new one. Every breakthrough in consciousness radiates into the human grid like light through water. It moves quietly but persistently, changing the tone of collective energy. That's why random acts of kindness, creative expression, or forgiveness feel different lately. They carry amplified impact. The shift isn't happening out there. It's happening through people, decisions, and the energy behind them. This phase of awakening will continue to unfold long after October's transition. The mind may search for logic, but the heart already understands. The transformation isn't meant to be analyzed, it's meant to be lived. Awareness is becoming the new gravity, pulling every aspect of human experience toward truth. Each awakened soul is a signal tower for the collective, transmitting frequencies of courage, love, and innovation. The awakening that once felt personal is becoming planetary. It's not a revolution of chaos. It's an evolution of consciousness. October 10th lingers like a pulse within the collective field, not as a date on the calendar, but as a quiet synchronization of consciousness, a convergence that hums beneath everything we build, imagine, and dissolve. Something vast is being recoded through ordinary lives, through the way we listen to one another, through the courage to stay open when it would be easier to shut down. The collective shift is not arriving in lightning bolts, but in micro moments of truth, in subtle awakenings that spread like a gentle contagion through the human field. What was once fragmented now begins to hum in unison. This is the whisper of planetary ascension, not a departure from the physical, but a full immersion into presence, compassion, and responsibility. Every choice now carries resonance. Every thought shapes invisible structures that will define generations. The old ways of running on survival instinct are dissolving, replaced by an awareness that cooperation, empathy, and creative participation are the real architecture of evolution. The human mind is no longer a cage of memory and fear. It is an antenna tuned to the frequencies of shared insight. Spiritual revolution no longer hides in rituals or temples. It lives in ordinary language, in daily acts of integrity, in the decision to live awake among those still dreaming. The grids of consciousness once mapped only by mystics are lighting through everyone. The so-called ordinary ones, the teachers, the artists, the mothers, the workers, the wanderers, are the new architects of this unseen design. Each carries a piece of the luminous code that stabilizes this rising rhythm. Together, they are rewriting the future through frequency rather than force. It is not domination that shapes destiny now, but coherence. Those who embody truth create quiet revolutions just by standing in their clarity. The awakening is not gentle, nor is it cruel. It is exact. It calls every being to drop pretenses, to abandon the chase for perfection, to dissolve illusions of separation. As consciousness expands, shadows cannot hide behind ideology or control. False power trembles not because it is attacked, but because it is no longer believed in. The collective is realizing that true power flows through transparency, not through hierarchy. A new kind of leadership is being born, not of command but of frequency, not of words but of embodiment. Those who carry ancient knowing within their bones recognize the rhythm unfolding now. They remember that ascension has nothing to do with escape. It is the art of integration. Every unhealed corner of the psyche becomes a teacher. Every limitation a doorway. The cosmos is not above watching us ascend. It is within breathing through every awakening mind. This revelation is not an event. It is an atmosphere of realization spreading through relationships, governments, art, and silence. Each person awakening now becomes a living transmitter, amplifying the message of interconnection. As one heart opens, thousands remember. As one truth is spoken aloud, old illusions fall silent. This is the invisible contagion of consciousness, the great reorganization of the unseen fabric that binds us all. Those who once felt isolated now sense the network of resonance connecting every pulse, every word, every quiet act of courage. The ascension of the collective is not about going higher. It is about becoming whole. The human field is learning to breathe together, not in uniformity but in rhythm. Difference is no longer a threat. It is a symphony. Diversity is the proof of divine intelligence weaving through form. As awareness grows, the edges between nations, classes, and beliefs begin to soften. What remains is the raw, undeniable truth of shared existence. This is the dawn of the spiritual revolution, where love ceases to be an emotion and becomes a framework for civilization. October 10th marks a silent turning, a pivot toward coherence. The consciousness of the planet is stretching, reconfiguring itself into something vast and intimate at once. The invitation now is not to ascend out of the world, but to re-inhabit it with luminous attention, to speak as though language itself were medicine, to walk as though each step were a prayer of embodiment. Those who understand the subtle language of energy know that ascension is not vertical, it is radial. It moves outward in rings, touching those we may never meet. Every time someone forgives, an entire timeline softens. Every time someone, the moon shift on October 10th arrives like a teacher without words, guiding through instinct, through the pulse that lives behind intention. Every action taken now imprints deeply, shaping not only the path ahead but the frequency behind it. To move with awareness is to practice the oldest art, alignment between thought and presence. The Hermetic masters once spoke of correspondence, that the inner mirrors the outer, and harmony begins where the two agree. It is a reminder to live symbolically, to treat each gesture as a ritual in motion, each choice as a spell of creation. In moments of uncertainty, the Vedic way teaches surrender through precision, doing one thing completely without division of focus. Drink water as though it were ceremony. Speak truth as though it were protection. Listen until understanding emerges without defense. This is how new timelines anchor. Through devotion to small acts done with complete integrity, transformation no longer requires force. It unfolds through consistency, through beauty lived intentionally, through presence that hums instead of demands. Indigenous wisdom teaches that guidance often hides in simplicity. A walk outside, a moment with soil, the rhythm of breathing in time with the wind. These are not escapes. They are recalibrations. To return to natural rhythm is to remember that expansion does not mean running faster, but becoming quieter inside while staying awake to the pulse of life. Every decision now is a seed. Every word spoken carries medicine or shadow depending on how it's shared. The shift that began under the October 10th moon asks for honesty, not perfection. For hearts brave enough to stay open while the collective learns new balance. Hermetic tradition reminds within so without. The world will mirror the tone we hold. So the call is clear. Choose steadiness over reaction, truth over convenience, clarity over noise. This is how the next chapter begins. Not with grand gestures, but through steady, grounded awareness that turns daily life into living prayer. The night carries a strange clarity, one that only comes when something larger has quietly begun. The full moon of October 10th opens a gate not in the sky, but inside every awakened soul ready to move differently. It's a quiet turning point disguised as light, reminding that endings are never punishment. They are preparation. Every hidden truth is now standing in plain view, asking to be honored, not feared. The air feels charged with decision. Those who listen closely will know it's time to release the stories that no longer fit and step forward with calm authority. The world is rearranging itself around courage, and the ones who stand steady in love become the map for others. Type "I rise with clarity" in the comments as your power phrase. It seals your intention into motion. Share this message with someone walking through their awakening. Sometimes one sentence at the right time can remind a soul who they were always meant to.